backyard with Mary and George. And what is that, your farm called? Is it Whippoorwill? No.
Earth Haven
Farm. I got somebody else mixed up, but there is another farm called that. Anyway, so Earth Haven, and you've been here for a few years.
Yeah, 40 years.
Wow, wow. So well, let's walk in and we'll see the sheep as we go. But so you've been here for 40 years. Now, how did this place get started?
My father bought it for the Monadnock Pony Club to have their shows and rallies. And
so
when he passed away, it came into my hands, and I always wanted to work with draft horses farming, and I've been very fortunate to have the chance.
Yeah, yeah.
And especially with Mary having similar interests in all these animals.
Yeah. So let's see. So you started at a young age. I understand that you used to play with chickens and be found at farms wherever anybody couldn't find you. They would know that you were okay.
Yeah, I loved to hang out at the French's farm down the road from us when I was growing up.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always had some chickens and ducks.
Yeah. So let's see. You became
weed patch gardens and stuff.
Yeah. Wow. And now you're a farrier now.
Yes.
And how did you get into that?
Well, I was lucky enough to apprentice with Alan Eldon, the farrier that we had showing our horses. And apprenticing with him was a great chance to learn horse training too, which I got really interested in because he was a great horse trainer. And he was a great metal worker too. But we shoot horses all over the southern border of New Hampshire, Nashua, on down into Hamilton, Massachusetts. And did everything from fancy Olympic hopeful hunters and all the way to trimming goats' hoofs too.
Wow.
He was not too proud.
Well, they all need it.
Mr. Eldon, he was quite a renowned horse person. He judged horse shows too.
Yeah. Isn't it nice to have somebody that can teach you hands-on? I mean, books are great, but what would you rather be doing?
That's it. He's a great mentor.
Yeah. 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 So
and
now,
as you pointed out, this horse has been a mentor too. One way we train is just matching up another horse to the green horse. That's how a lot of draft horse people get their horses trained.
What else have you used Belinda for? So you go out and you do maple sugaring and things like that?
Yeah, we follow the seasons of the year. We spread manure after sugaring time. And in the summer, unfortunately, we don't use them haying because the equipment is just so much faster.
Right.
He has done it.
Yeah.
If we had more teamsters, it'd be really great to
wouldn't that be a wonderful
that
day?
route.
Yeah.
But we're always trying to beat the weather,
Right.
which is changing all the time when you're trying to do haying. It
Yeah,
seems to attract clouds when you mow hay.
Right. And you don't use her for your gardens or anything like that, or?
Oh yeah, we do plow up the garden and harrow it and
That's great.
spread manure on it with them and
Good. Good.
spread manure on the hay fields. And anyways.
Yeah. So you don't have just horses though here. You have sheep and you have chickens?
Oh yes, we
You have chickens and you have other horses across the street. You also have people that ride here, it looks like.
A few.
Yep. Yep.
But he also has a good-sized herd of beefalo.
Oh, yeah. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I got interested in the low cholesterol aspect of raising this cross between buffalo and Charolais cows, but we also have Hereford mixed in. And yeah, grass-fed beef is really partly a buzzword now.
Yeah.
It's a healthier kind of meat if you're going to be eating red
And
meat.
it's all grass. Oh, we're all talking here, huh?
We won't eat you, don't worry.
So the grass-fed, that is a much better way to go than grain-fed. And you guys, you know what they're eating.
Just walk through
Yeah,
and walk
that's what it
around.
is all about.
Yeah.
No hormones or toxins in their systems. We avoid even fly sprays and trying to have predator wasps and things instead.
Right. Right, because it makes it so much healthier for everybody, not just the horse, but for us too. Everything, or the cows. So you're looking at the whole big picture. So who did we have here?
This is Eva.
Hi, Eva.
George bred Morgans for years.
All the black ones were born here. And
Really? So this one was born here?
Yes.
Wow, this is a beautiful horse.
And Allison actually is the daughter of Matt Patnode. This is Allison Patnode, and
Matt
her-
does all the farming, really, running the equipment and keeping it going and getting all the hay.
Matt was a lot like George was as a child. I remember Matt being, this high out there trying to lift hay bales. And he is an absolute genius with machines. We're so fortunate to have him. George now and then says, I think I corrupted Matt. I think he's addicted to farming too.
How bad could that be, Oh my gosh.
But we love having Allison here. It's a
Yeah.
whole nother generation.
Right, right. Well, and to me, this is what farming should be. I mean, there's not a lot of room in the towns and the cities now, to have farms. But when you go out, just 5 minutes or so, this farm is not that far out, and you have this beautiful land. How many acres do you have here?
Well, there's 25 open acres here, but we go after hayfields all over town.
Yeah.
There's well over 100 acres of woods and
I think we own 250 acres.
some
of
and you have
conservation
everything
land.
conservation. Yes.
Some of
At
which
the end
is,
of the road.
and that is actually how we wound up with the beefalo,
Yeah.
because there was a piece of property that we had been told by the owners, or it was common knowledge that the woman who owned it never wanted anything to happen to it. She always wanted it to remain pristine woodland. And then she passed away, and the next thing we knew, these giant logging trucks were going by, taking out loads, hundreds of loads. And it came up, it looked like they wanted to develop it. So we mortgaged the farm, bought the piece, and George is one of these people who, if you hand him a bushel of lemons, you're going to get a lot of lemonade. And he and Matt and our son Jacob have made a gorgeous field out of a piece of it.
That's wonderful.
And they now have, he got the beefalos to try to do something with this land that had had a very rough time.
Wow.
And they're living down there, they overwinter there, they spend part of the spring and summer there. We also moved them around. I don't know if you mentioned about the conservation piece where they are now on Route 101. We don't own that, but
Yeah, so we do what a lot of people with a lot of cows do, trailer them to a
Right.
pasture where they can munch out all summer.
Yeah, because
And
pasture is
harvest it
a tough
directly.
thing to find,
Yeah.
because you have to balance between haying and pasturing and all of that.
But we've been getting a lot of help from Monadnock Conservancy and the New England Forestry Association based in Massachusetts.
Excellent.
Manages the land over on Route 101,
Right.
Cooper Hill.
Yeah. So if people are interested in getting your meat, they come here, or do you have it in any other stores in Keene, or how do they?
So far we haven't got that big a herd.
Uh-huh.
We just have a little over a dozen cows. So we just sell retail right here.
Okay, all right. And
But-
so we'll give you that information at the end of the show as to how you can get a hold of George and Mary for their beefalo. So we've talked a lot about the farm, and it's an inspiration to Mary. So I don't know if you know this or not, but Mary is an artist, professional artist. That's what she does for a living. And what is your inspiration, Mary?
right here. Yeah, they always say, paint what you know, paint what you love. And I love George.
I've seen George
She
in
loves
plenty of
sheep.
paintings.
Sheep are her models.
I
That's a
really,
rationale with the sheep, but
I'm
they're
in-
productive too.
yeah, I do have these 30-odd sheep here, and I love to paint them.
Yeah.
I love to paint the draft horses. I particularly enjoy painting drafts, I think because of the bond with the land, and also the bond with the teamsters.
Yeah.
I mean, as George was saying, this is a mentor. She's not that old, but she's a really wonderful horse, and that rapport there is really wonderful.
Well, and I feel like they're gentle giants too, because if you know how to control a horse, they are just peaches. I mean, look at this horse here. She doesn't take anything to take care of. Granted, I know that there's been a little bit of training here, but look at how big this horse is. If that horse wanted to get away, it would definitely be able to do what it needed to do.
And to a certain extent, the gentle giant thing is sometimes misunderstood a little bit, because draft horses can be very, very hot.
Right.
And people sometimes buy them thinking that, oh, they're so
so cute.
gentle.
Yeah.
Oh, look how they used to be on the farms. Anyone could do anything. Well, they forget that those horses were working 12 hours a day.
Right.
And that they had had years and years of work.
Right.
And that's a big difference. And it's also different personalities to different animals. He's got those two youngsters there and a third that someone's borrowing. They're completely different dispositions. One is extremely hot, one is extremely mellow, and one is right in the middle.
And when you're saying hot, like in temperament,
In
not
temperament.
in heat. Yeah.
In temperament.
Yeah,
There, she's
tending to be
excitable.
excitable,
Right.
nervous. The Morgans that we have really are a challenge. You need to have a really strong personality, like Allison has, to not have a horse like Eva take advantage. What she'd like to be doing is the same thing this horse would like to be doing, munching out on grass.
Right.
And she's been training her to obey and stand like a lady.
Well, she
And
looks
she's a great rider. This horse has been rowdy enough to throw her off, and she's gotten right back on. And
But
And
they're
a
also more mellow than
solid
a
seat
thoroughbred.
rider.
You know,
Great
they're a
balance.
good family horse, assuming that you get the right horse and train it,
Right.
and are trained yourself to
Right.
some extent.
So-
Allison works a lot with a trainer herself.
So where are the trainers? Where do you go to learn how to ride a horse?
Well, actually, there's trainer up the road. Her name's Cindy, and she helps me with training Eva and training me to be a better rider. And so,
Nice.
And then I take Allison out on wild excursions in the rain.
I hope you'll talk about how good the Romney fleece is for hand spinners. And
My breed of sheep, we'll have to get them over here.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll
yeah.
get them over here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Why don't we let you guys go? Because I know, George, you've got things to do. You're working on a farm
I
here.
was supposed to be doing some hoofs, actually.
Yeah, yeah. So Mary and I will finish this up. But thank you very much, George.
Oh, thank
and
you.
Thank you again for, bringing your horses down.
I'll get
That's
it, Allison.
wonderful.
She can drink that.
Mary, that was so interesting listening to George, and he's got so much information to share with people about horses.
He has taught a lot of people about horses, about farrier work, working draft horses.
Yeah.
An awful lot of the farriers in the area actually do. We'll be knocked over by my little gluttons here. As you can see, these sheep are terrified of people.
So we were talking about George.
Yes.
So he started when he was, 14 years old or?
He started when he was this high.
Oh, wow.
From his sisters tell all the stories about George are about George with his chickens when he was very tiny, or George and his little farm tractors in the sand pile. He loved farming from the time he was born.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
it just came in the egg, so to speak.
So it's in his spirit.
Yeah, it's really
that's
in his
great.
spirit.
That's great.
That's-
So you met George via ferrying?
I was actually teaching at Hampshire Country School in Ringe, and I decided I had no responsibilities other than teaching at that time, so I would get myself a horse. I was also teaching the riding program. I was teaching the elementary disabled kids. Well, they weren't disabled, but emotionally
Challenged.
disabled.
Yeah.
And I was teaching the riding program, and I thought I'd get my own horse so that they could have more. And a friend brought me here, and the first day, George lent me a horse.
Wow. And that was it. He
and
knew
that
you'd be
was
back.
That was it.
Wow, wow. And so your typical day now is waking up to this beautiful farm
Yeah.
on the top of a hill,
Yeah.
looking out the window at horses and beefalo and your beautiful sheep. And now these sheep are your subjects.
These sheep are. I love painting these sheep. As a little kid, I loved horses. I loved drawing and painting, and I was weirdly attracted to sheep. No one could understand it, and I didn't understand it. I just liked them. And then, as an adult, when I moved here with George, George did not have sheep, but he said, I've always wanted them. Win French, the farmer he mentioned when you were speaking with him, had a flock of sheep. And he remembered them from being a child, and he just liked sheep.
Yeah.
And I wound up with sheep, and I've loved them ever since. I've had them for well over 30 years.
Wow. And so what do you do with your sheep besides use them in your beautiful paintings?
Well, when my children were small, I couldn't paint while my children were little, because you know what that, most mothers will know what that's like.
Right. You think you're going to have all the time in the world, and you have no time at all.
No, not a
Right.
minute. And
Right.
so I couldn't paint, and so I instead worked with wool. It was that outlet for creativity and
Right.
color. And I have Romney sheep, and they have extremely good wool for hand spinning. And so I did all of that, and I had a little business selling hand spun articles. And then the kids grew up, and my husband said, go back to painting. So I did.
Yeah. And your work has this a luminescence about it, because you can tell your paintings compared to other people. You do have your style.
I think all people have their style. All artists do. They always say, paint what you know, paint what you love. I love the farm. I love my animals. I was always really, I still am, incredibly attracted to impressionistic painting. I used to spend literally hours sitting in front of Renoir's dancers at the MFA. That beauty in life, because I sort of think art shows you, or can show you, the beauty that's here all around us, and let people suddenly notice that, like the colors in the Impressionist paintings and the light. And it also is a conduit right into the spirituality.
Right.
And it's that way both for the artist and hopefully for the viewer.
Right.
And when my lambs get born, the first few days of their lives are unbelievable. They have these little angel hairs that catch the light, and they're very inspirational.
Yeah.
And within a week, they're little sheep. But that beginning, they're little angels.
Yeah, all those paintings that you have of them sitting in the barn in the hay. And,
Yeah.
and they're what makes them so angelic? I mean, they're so innocent. They're so pure.
And it is some sort of an archetype within us. Most of the people, I sell a lot of sheep paintings, and most of the people who buy them don't have sheep. I mean, people who have sheep also do occasionally buy sheep paintings, but most don't.
But,
There's
I
an
think a lot of
archetypal
people-
safety there.
Yeah, a lot of people love sheep.
Yeah.
I mean, but how often do you have a chance to have sheep?
That's
so
right.
That's what intrigues me. I have one of your paintings. I'm so excited. But it's different than a lot of your paintings. This one that I have has a lot of really bright greens in it.
This time of year.
Right. And it's not that the hue from the barn or the soft light. It's beautiful. It's in a shade area with the trees and it's got like 5 sheep on it. And it's just, I love it. I look at it. It's right outside my bedroom. I look at it every day.
That's so nice to
Yeah.
hear.
And
That's so nice
I'm
to
sure
hear.
other people feel the same way. I love going to the gallery. We have a couple of galleries locally. There's one in Keene. Does the Sharon Art Center have your work as well?
It does, yes.
Yeah.
The gallery in Keene, Monadnock Fine Art, is now at Anthony Topfer's jewelry place right at the head of the square, and it's going great guns as an art gallery still, and I'm so pleased.
Because that's all art. I mean, the
Yes.
jewelry, the paintings.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And now you teach classes as well.
I do. I
And-
teach over at Sharon Art Center.
And when did you get started with that?
I started teaching there probably 7 or 8 years ago. Actually, right now, there's an exhibit at the Jaffrey Civic Center of my students' work. And it's students past and present, and some are emerging artists. There are a couple of hobbyists, and some are professional artists. But it's a wonderful exhibit. There are over 25 artists exhibiting.
And this is July of 2012, so by the time you see this, that will have passed. But watch out for those artists because they're emerging.
They are,
And it's all a transition because you didn't just pick up a brush and become the person you are today.
No.
How did you learn to become an artist?
I think it's a stereotype with many artists. She was 1 year old and we gave her a crayon and she drew a horse. And my mother will tell you that story.
Yeah.
And so I have drawn and painted all my life, with the exception of the time when my kids were small. I'd get up at 4 and do some painting then, but it's not intense in the same way.
Right.
But I was fortunate enough, in our high school they had a giant fine art department, and I got an incredible foundation there. We were in that art department probably 4 to 5 hours a day, studio painting. And then I was all set to go to school for art in Boston, and the last minute I switched to creative writing. And I think it's that, again.
creative.
It's very creative. But I painted my way through college. I sold paintings in order to pay tuition. So, and my family's always been incredibly supportive. I mean, all these people who say, oh, nobody supported me. I was lucky. My school supported me. My family supported me. And then once the kids were older again, I took a lot of follow-up, weekends or week classes with various artists to get a leg up again, to get going.
Yeah, because what I see is the same thing. There's several other artists that are local that were busy. They had their kids, and now you're seeing them really bloom.
That's right. That's right.
You've got quite a few friends. I don't know. Anyway, you've got quite a few friends that I've seen the transition of their work, even in the last 5 or 10 years. That is really cool. So, I know you have a studio here at your house. We're not going to go into that today. We may show some pictures at the end with a little photo montage. But I just wanted people to know that you can pick up a paintbrush, or you can pick up charcoal, or you can pick up whatever. You can do whatever medium you want. There's so many fiber arts that you can do.
That's
and
true.
so what would your suggestion be for anybody that is interested in becoming an artist? Or
Well, if you can, just paint or just do your art, whatever it is. If you want to paint, if you want to draw, just do it. And then there are wonderful opportunities to study art. You can work with individual artists. Many of them give workshops. You can also go to a place like Sharon Art Center, which has a wonderful program. If you don't, it's less expensive than taking a college course
and they
a
also
whole
have
degree
scholarships
course.
that I understand.
They do have scholarships.
Yep.
I know I'm teaching an intensive plein air over there
And tell
in
us,
August.
everybody asks, what is plein air?
Plein air is when you go outside and paint on location. Almost all of my landscapes are on location.
Right.
I just go out there. I often think under Monadnock at Perkins Pond, they're going to issue me a parking pass. Every year I say I'm going to do one painting here, but it's so spectacular I cannot stop going back.
It is.
I
It
do
is.
paint outdoors a lot. A real lot. Right now, there's a group of artists we're working on a conservancy show. Ryan Owens gave us maps of conserved lands, and we're all going out and painting those conserved landscapes. And I've been pretty involved with that this summer.
Yeah, great, great. Well, this has just been amazing to be up here on the top of the mountain, here in my backyard. I love, my backyard is awesome. I have so many different backyards.
This is definitely our backyard.
Yeah, it is your backyard. So again, farming, I mean, it doesn't take a lot, but it does. It takes a commitment. It takes people that want to be up early in the morning and late at night, but they also enjoy themselves. What do you guys do to have fun?
We stay home.
But do you play music or?
We continue what we're doing.
Yeah.
We've got a big garden. We used to run a CSA. We ran a CSA for 5 years, and I still have a big garden. That I consider, quote, hobby.
Yeah.
George drives his horses. We ride our horses.
Yeah.
We move our sheep, worm the sheep, paint.
Yeah. So
we
you're
really are living our dreams.
You're walking the walk and talking the talk, and it's all one big.
I couldn't think of a better life.
Yeah.
I could not imagine a better life for me.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really glad that you've been in my backyard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jody.
So here we've been in my backyard. If you are interested in being a guest or giving us comments or anything, please email us. And our email address is inmybackyardch8@gmail.com, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. So thank you again,
And thank you.
yeah, get out and enjoy the outdoors. We'll see you again soon.